an ambiguity in the law is a provision, a statute, or a regulation that is confusing and is subject to maybe more than one interpretation. We have a lot of that, for example, in the MPP's Arizona Medical Marijuana Act. I talked about a couple of those earlier. For example, they sought out to provide immunity from the metabolite DUI charge, but failed to do that, and the court said there is no such immunity. So it was an ambiguous provision that could have been written much better. Had the MPP bothered to consult with a criminal defense lawyer, they refused. I offered my assistance. Other criminal lawyers I know offered their assistance. We were rebuffed and told that our role would be played out in the implementation of the Medical Marijuana Act. They only consulted with business lawyers to make sure that the licensing structure, et cetera, would hold up. There's many examples of. Another example I talked about earlier was parental rights. The MPP sought to protect those. That provision is largely disregarded by CPS. We have had a lot of persons face persecution and prison time, doing prison time now, because the MPP's initiative, Section 362811B3, provided for patient-to-patient transfers, and there didn't appear to be any restriction on receiving compensation for those transfers, one patient to another. And even the courts admitted that provision was ambiguous and subject to more than one interpretation, but they ruled that was unlawful because it was contrary to the interest of dispensaries and under the Medical Marijuana Act. So there are people who are now going to prison for engaging in behavior that they reasonably believed was legal under the Medical Marijuana Act, and that is on the MPP's that has to be on the MPP's conscience, because they caused that ambiguity. They wrote that ambiguity. They caused that problem, and those people who are in prison are there because of the MPP's failure to really be thoughtful about the way that they wrote the Medical Marijuana Act, and even consult a criminal defense attorney experienced in Arizona's marijuana laws. And there's many other examples of that, but that's an ambiguity. And ambiguities, I can't say in all cases the courts interpret those ambiguities against the public and in favor of law enforcement, but certainly in many cases they do. I gave you the example of the DUI, for example, and there's other areas too. But in fairness, there are areas where they side with the public, such as in the area of concentrates. In Maricopa County, the court said concentrates are legal, or a person's right to medicate while on probation. They upheld that. It's a mixed bag, but in some cases they definitely do side with the government. If it really is ambiguous, I have to say in most cases they do side with law enforcement.